Welcome, everyone. How are you doing? I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I've got Michelle Anderson here. This today is a very special live stream because this is technically our last live stream. There's more to follow, but this is wrapping up everything that we have done over the last month or so with all of you out there coming in each week with us a couple times a week. It's been a great ride. It's been a lot of fun. And I want to welcome Michelle Anderson. Michelle, how are you?
I'm great. It feels like graduation day after 6 weeks of doing these weekly live streams. And Jimmy, it has been such an honor and a pleasure to just be hanging with you and seeing how you roll. I really have enjoyed it.
How I roll. Let me tell, I want to thank everybody. And it's very important because I want to actually mention my morning today. I'm going to do that briefly because all of us have been going through probably the craziest time in human history. And certainly the last 3 or 4 generations, nobody has experienced what this planet is going through. And as a collective, we are managing to get through all of this together and are supporting each other. And to that end, we're all spending a lot of time at home. And all of us, and we understand this, there isn't a country on this planet that's not affected. There isn't a person on this planet that is not affected and touched by all of this. That includes myself and all of you. But it also means that we have some extra time to get together as a community online and reach out and watching everybody around the planet, whether it's musicians or actors or celebrities or just people like myself and friends gather around the internet and do their things so they can still stay in contact with everybody. It's a heartwarming thing to see go down. And we've been doing that each week here. You've been here with us. And I want to thank everybody for that before we go forward. Now, to that end, I want to say that my day today, before I got here, I cleaned out my garage, right? Now, it sounds like something simple. Shouldn't you always do that? Well, no, we don't. None of us do it. And here I am in this lockdown. And I looked at my garage and I thought to myself, no more procrastinating on this. And with everything that is going on with this lockdown, it's also easy to fall into some bad habits because we don't have to do certain things maybe every single day. Don't fall into that trap. Don't be a Jimmy. Just do the things that you need to do and don't procrastinate, because this is an opportunity for all of us where we can look back in a couple of years and go, I did this in 2020 because I had free time and I was responsible and I took care of things. I wrote a book. I learned to play guitar. I wrote songs, poetry. I started a little company. I did some online things. I participated in communities. I got involved in initiatives. I did things with my time back then. And that's what we did here, along with Michelle, Neil, Adrian, the entire crew at Disclosure Fest, all of the musicians and researchers and people. They all came together because they know how important this period is for this planet. So with that, I'm going to ask you, Michelle, are you taking advantage of this free time? What are you doing?
You know, Jimmy, this has been such an incredible journey to be able to be a host for Disclosure Fest weekly global live streams and meeting with really talented performers that are bringing us back to our hearts and to our center. And so I've looked forward to the meditations, the ecstatic dance, the yoga, the sound healing, the EFT tapping with Jennifer Partridge, and sacred geometry learning all from Adam Apollo. And Zat Baraka in the beginning, we had him on. He was hosting about men's intimacy work. And we had our Indigenous Day on 4/4 with our star elders, Chief Phil Lane and Jose Munoz from the Mayan Daykeeper. And Mikalani Young, our Hawaiian Kumu. We had so many great performers. So I really got into all of that. And in addition to that, I'm working on myself, my relationships, getting out in nature, walking. I've been doing a lot of at least 5 miles pretty much every day, walking by the river by my house, and really tuning into what that feels like to be in nature and to slow down.
What do you think about this period of change that everybody's talking about? You don't have to be a part of this community to be talking about it. And it is something that is on everybody's mind right now. What are we going to do with the future, with the experiences that we are going through now? And it doesn't matter what that subject is, whether it's consciousness, kindness to others, the economy, jobs, the way that we approach this planet. It has caused everybody to stop and reflect, right? What do you think we're going to do with all of this experience into the future?
I'd like to think that Disclosure Fest is leading the way into a new paradigm of how we do things in service to others, and how we care about the environment through our Clean Air Initiative and our Beach and River Initiative, the Cleanup Initiative, Feed Our Souls, feeding the homeless in Los Angeles, Skid Row area. The world needs more organizations like Disclosure Fest that are taking care of others and thinking about community in a really healthy, collaborative way. And the musicians and the performers that are coming together to collaborate without any competition. Everybody's coming together from the kindness and the goodness of their hearts. And I think that we're all being rewarded. One of the things that I feel that we've seen is, when you give from your heart with whatever you have, if you don't have the funds to give, but you have the time to give, it all cycles back around. And we're learning really how the universe takes care of us, how we work in harmony with the earth and with each other. That's what I'm seeing moving forward. And we're holding that intention together. We're doing it as a collective. And as we all do that, we feel the vibration on earth rising. Even though there's still factions that don't always have the same opinions, we can respect each other and where we're all at in our levels of consciousness. And Disclosure Fest really embodies that. Adrian's mass meditation, I'd like to bring Adrian on to talk about what inspired him to do Disclosure Fest and what the mass meditation means to him and to the world.
No, it's not about Adrian. He can stay offline. And Neil, keep Adrian in the background. I want, and I say that because I want to say some things without Adrian being here. The attitude for a lot of people, and it's one of those things that is obvious, but when we're talking about cleaning beaches or planting trees or feeding the homeless and the elderly and kids and children and just all of the planet work and these discussions are so often ignored. You see it, you hear people talk about it, but you always think, somebody else is going to take care of that. I'm too busy. I've got other things that I've got to do. And it is just part of the reality. And then you go to something like Disclosure Fest, and you go there and you see the trees that are going to be planted, right? They're all in pots, and you see the initiatives going around, and you see 5, 10, 15, 20,000 people gathered in one place, all looking to get all of this stuff done. You see Disclosure Fest cleaning up the beaches. You see Disclosure Fest feeding the homeless each week. You see the initiatives that are going on with the elderly at their care homes. You see all of this happening. And you're like, okay, now that enables people, and I'm being very serious, to get involved, because now it's a tangible thing in front of them that they can see. These are the people that are getting it done. This is the community that is making it happen. It's not invisible. It's not in the background. And now it becomes something that you can't ignore in a fun way, right? Now you can't deny wanting to be there and be a part of it because you get to experience it in the first person. And I think that's what is most important. Yeah. And Disclosure Fest, when we talk about the Feed Your Souls, or we talk about the Clean Air Initiative or the Elder Initiative, the Beach and River Cleanup, the Starseed Initiative, all of these for a lot of people are just words. They're just words. Disclosure Fest and what Adrian and the rest of everybody involved, it's not just one person, that have come together to make sure that all of this happens. It's an amazing thing. And I have to thank Adrian. That's why I don't want him here right now. I want him to understand that we recognize this. I am never so proud as when Rita and I pull up and walk into Disclosure Fest and see the colors, the faces of the people, the banners, the flags, the things, the togetherness of that community that goes on for dozens of acres. It's just amazing. But that's what it is. You know, I'll never forget, Michelle, this is no joke. We were walking through Disclosure Fest and I see the truckloads of trees in pots. And I thought, wow, that's great decoration. They brought it in, and Adrian goes, those are the trees we're planting all over LA. And you look and it's a sea of trees. It's not a couple, right? It's a sea of trees. And it just makes you realize that Adrian and Disclosure Fest and what they have done, they are doers. And that's what's most important. You can talk. These are words for a lot of people. You go to Disclosure Fest, you see the live streams each week, and you see everything that we have done for the community. It's because Adrian, it says something and he delivers. And
he makes it happen.
He makes it happen. I'm going to say this before I turn it over to you. Nothing scares me more than a phone call from Adrian. And this is why. This is why. Adrian calls up and he goes, okay, so this is the plan. We're going to do shows. We're going to take Disclosure Fest to Tokyo, Moscow, London, Madrid, South Africa. Then we're going to head up to Brazil, Mexico City, and then head over to Tokyo. And we're going to do everything in the next 3 months. What do you say, Jimmy? Are you on board? And when he says something like this, I know if I say, let's do this, it's, this is what Adrian does. He does not play around. And all of us need to just step back, thank Adrian, head over to Disclosure Fest, look at the initiatives, help us donate, contribute. And if you can't donate cash, because cash is great, it helps us get all of this done, donate your time. Come and hang out on Skid Row. Come clean some beaches. Come plant some trees. Hang out with the elderly, the Starseed Initiative. These are projects that we need all of your volunteer time for. And that is what Disclosure Fest means to me. That's why I am here. Adrian said earlier today, he said, Jimmy, why you and Rita? Why are you guys here? These are the reasons we are here. And I've said it many times, Michelle. I'll say it again. Adrian and I and Rita were on a sidewalk in LA. And Adrian says, I've got this idea. And here we are today. Look at what this man has pulled off with his team. And it says to me that everybody is concerned. They want to come together and let's do this. And here we are. What an incredible ride. And I want to thank Adrian right now. From the bottom of my heart, and Rita, and how important this is to us. So thank you, Adrian. Michelle, your highlight, I know you listed a lot of things, but your highlight for me is your participation and your time. You are here, each week, with me. And I think that is the highlight, that you're here because not because you have to be, because you want to be here with this community. Am I right?
Totally. And I was telling Adrian, it has been such a joy to be here meeting with these incredible artists and performers, Dea Dova, and watching you talk with Dr. Stephen Greer twice and really really connecting with the information that he was bringing through and what you were sharing, and with Liquid Bloom and the different meditations that we did, just really filled my heart with joy. And I got a lot of feedback from personal friends who were, you know, I would share the links with them, and the personal friends would say, "This was so incredible. How did you get involved in this?" And I said, well, when you meet Adrian Valera, you can feel the purity in his heart, that he is a man who does what he says what he does, and he has such conviction about living his life in service and helping others. He would give you the shirt off of his back. That's the kind of guy he is. And those are the kind of people I want to be aligned with. And it has been just such a joy to be in this energy and in this flow. I also feel that with these weekly live streams that we've done, yeah, we did them for the, you know, from March 31st on, but they can be shared for the next 3 years and have great impact. That's something that means a lot to me as well. I've already gone back and watched the Liquid Bloom meditation and Dea Dova's meditation. My gosh, just because it gave me such a sense of peace going back in and doing that. If I feel a little off center for, you know, things that are going on, whatever information I'm taking in or whatever's going on in my life, I can go back to Disclosure Fest YouTube channel and go find those. Right. Whatever I connected with, even the, you know, the EFT tapping, that's another great tool in our toolbox. And that's what Disclosure Fest is sharing. In addition to all of our initiatives, we're also giving tools for people to actually use in their life to help heal and bring healing. So that has been incredible.
And there's another part to this too as well. It's fun.
It is.
It's bleeping fun. Mm-hmm. And for everybody out there, we have talked about Disclosure Fest. You have seen the videos and the images of that magical day that we do each year. But when you need to attend, you need to go and check out Disclosure Fest from wherever you are across the country, to go and step in and witness and be a part of it. It is absolute fun. Absolute fun. Every walk across that ginormous park with that many people and the vibration that you feel from that, it's something that you can't experience anywhere else. And I invite everybody to come and hang out with us. We moved the date, by the way, to August 8th. There are obvious reasons why that happened. And we knew that June was coming up very, very quickly on us, and what were going to be the issues there, the obvious issues. So we moved the date back to August 8th, and over at DisclosureFest.org, all of the information, the news, location, times, tickets, how to get involved and everything. DisclosureFest.org is the portal where you can go and see everything. This next Disclosure Fest is scheduled for August 8th on Saturday. And in the event, and certainly right now things change on this planet day to day, in the event that we do have to move it back, we do have 2 additional dates that are reserved, I believe in September and October, if we've got to go back that far. But make your plans now. Start making your plans to attend Disclosure Fest. I am going to be there. Michelle's going to be there. The performers and the researchers and everybody that is going to be there speaking and presenting are there as well. And if you are a vendor, you got one of the great opportunities, by the way, that we ignore a little bit here, is that vendors are very important. And one of my favorite things to do at any conference, and certainly at Disclosure Fest, is to walk and visit and speak to all of the vendors. Rita and I literally will have people in tow with us. We go and meet everybody, and we go see what they want to share and and what they are bringing to the community. And yeah, we walk to the car with bags of things because we want to support the vendors and the people that are a part of this community. But if you're a vendor, this is one of the biggest events that you can not only contribute and participate in, but interface with one of the largest groups of people that gather in one day for this community in the world. This may be the biggest event of its kind. But let's bring on Adrian. Adrian, are you out there? Oh, you know what I didn't say? Here comes Adrian. There's another part to Adrian. He's laughing.
There he is, the man.
Yeah, thank you so much, Adrian. And I mean that. But there's another part to Adrian I didn't mention. You never want to get the Adrian glare. That's what you don't want.
I have a glare.
Yeah, you got a glare. So the Adrian glare. It's how he closes a deal. And it could be about anything. So Jimmy, I was thinking.
Oh, it's that one. It's like, are you coming from a place?
It'll be something like, Jimmy, are you drinking your kombucha? And I'm like, well, and then I'll get the glare.
That's
nice.
Oh man, I had 4 bottles today. It's great.
Jimmy, I'm drinking mine, GT's kombucha. This is one of our sponsors.
And I did before we get to Adrian, we have to thank our sponsors. And this is the thing, not only GT Kombucha, thank you so much, Khalifa Farms, Biomats. These are companies that have been involved with us and Adrian's relationships with the community and these great companies that help support everything that we're doing at Disclosure Fest. Their support cannot be measured, and I want to thank all of them. Who did I leave off the list, Adrian?
Follow Your Heart.
Follow Your Heart.
Follow Your Heart, which is a restaurant and market that's really been helpful from the beginning, feeding the homeless. Is that right?
Yeah, they're one of our partners from a long time that have been with us and also helping us with all of our initiatives. Like even with food, with our Feed Our Souls initiative, our Star Seed initiative, and even our new initiative, Every Elder. They just really support these initiatives and where they're coming from. So follow your heart long term. And I've been going to this little market restaurant since 1991. And, that's kind of where it introduced a lot of my, plant-based diet. And the owners of this amazing establishment, I go to their homes to work on them for crystal healing and past life, clearing and trauma clearing and emotional clearing. So, we go back, and it's really grateful to have them. Even this last week when we fed 300 people on Skid Row, again, they just donated so much. So follow your heart. Thank you always. And we're just going to keep it going.
Now, Adrian, I've said this so much out to the community, but I want to get your reaction on this because we never actually really talked about it. But going back to the initial conversations that not only that you had with Rita and I, but Michelle and others at the when this was just a germ of an idea, right, in a Petri dish, right? It's just an idea. And to go from that to where we are today, how does that make you feel? And of course, the success of bringing a community together is one thing. But for you personally, to have something go from an idea to reality today, how does that make you feel, man?
Yeah, it's amazing. And, I'm just really humbled by it because, I've been in the music industry, as you know, for almost 30 years now. And I get calls from our friends at different places like William Morris or Live Nation, and they're always asking the same questions like, how are you doing this? Because it's not a festival that's supposed to work. And just, when this kind of download came through to do this, and it came through in multiple parts. At first it was going to just be a normal festival with all this conscious elements. And then it evolved, another download come through to like make it free. And then another download come to make it around a mass meditation. And another one to keep it in the center of a city where it needs the most, that a mass meditation would take the most effect, and then the initiatives. So it just kind of kept building into something. And for myself, like getting into that place to learning, about true surrender and trust. And that, I think, was the hardest part for me, is getting to that part to where like you're just gonna like, wow, okay, I'm gonna surrender. This is not a business model. There's no way that this works in a business capacity, and just surrender to it and trust that the universe is got your back. And that's exactly what I feel, and that's what I'm the most grateful for, because but for the universe to be able to like carry this through in this way, it just means that I have been doing this work that I've been putting off, like you said, procrastinating. Yeah, it's just like I felt like my whole life there's a lot that I've been procrastinating on, and a lot of that is the inner work. So, and I still have endless supply of inner work to work on.
We all do, right?
We all agree with that. This is the time. If not now, when?
Oh man!
So it took a lot of that, and it's just so beautiful that we were able to put together a festival that had over 20,000 people. To now, when I said we're going to add an initiative every year, we have 6 now. And even now with all that's going on in our planetary environment, we're still out there working on putting together our Feed Our Souls every week, and we're going to start doing these Starseed initiatives with our inner children, our inner city youth, and we're going to start doing these virtually. So like that means the most to me, because surrendering to this model is one thing, but surrendering to like a life of service was a whole nother thing. And that's part of like what I'm working on, and I'm happy and finally in a place where like, wow, it's unstopping. I can't stop doing this, and I won't ever stop. And no matter what.
What I find great about all of this is that I think there is a perception, and certainly a lot of jokes are made at the community's expense about who is awakened and who is conscious, and hippies and things, whatever. And I find that I find it all very humorous, because I laugh at myself all the time when it comes to that. That's great. But when you go to Disclosure Fest, or I look at the community that surrounds Fade to Black, and different conferences that I attend, it's grown into a mixture of all elements of society, because you can walk around Disclosure Fest now and see not only old and middle and young and the ages side of things, but you see everybody represented from society today. And that's cool.
The beauty of it.
Yeah. You're not necessarily walking around like Adrian in a tie-dye shirt, smelling like some kind of crazy awakening oil, right? No, and there is that, and I do that. But I'm saying that you see just about everybody walking around, because the awareness is there. I think everybody is not only concerned about the environment and the planet, but the homeless and our children and the elderly and the beaches and trees. I had read recently, and I think that's one of the coolest parts about this, is that no matter who you are, you're going to go to Disclosure Fest, become a part of this community, and be comfortable, because not only you can be yourself, but you're going to find others that are just like you. It's
a community that really brings many different cultures together, like what you're saying, Jimmy. At the ACON event, which we did after Disclosure Fest, we saw so many different cultures come together with ACON and Kyoshi, and the panel that I hope you get that video from that panel up on the Disclosure Fest YouTube, because that was really powerful.
Yeah, we're working.
What was shared there.
Man, Kyoshi. Whoa. Yeah. Man, what a talent. And I remember Rita and I had the opportunity. This is what was really funny. Michelle is standing in front of the stage, soaking all of the performances in. I see Michelle. Adrian's running around. Rita and I had the opportunity to hang out with Kyoshi for a couple of hours, right? And talk. Had no idea what we were about to see on stage. And he hit the stage, and to see it's the vocals, right? Of course, man's got some dance moves, right? And I remember standing out in front of the stage. I was like, I'm looking at it like a young James Brown or something, like a real world-class talent, right? Just incredible. I'm so glad you brought up Kyoshi. I wanted to mention this really quick before we move on. I reported a story that got lost in the media a couple of weeks ago out of Pakistan, okay? And Pakistan did a project called the Tsunami Tree Planting.
Oh, yeah. I heard about this.
Did you hear about it?
Yeah.
Where they planned on, and I believe the number was 5 billion trees, right? Yeah. Like this crazy number, a tsunami of tree planting across the country. And that was very cool. And it's a 5-year project, right? Okay. So there are 2 billion trees into it. They're 2 years into the project. And there was an interesting note in the press release that in the last 2 years, since they started the project, bee and honey production rose by 70%.
Wow.
In 2 years. 2 years.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't say to everybody how important it is to get trees planted back into the ground so nature can do its thing, man. Let nature, and it doesn't take much. How much effort does it take to dig a hole in the ground and plant a tree? Not much. We need people to do it.
Yeah.
We need a little money to do it. And then the rewards that come back, we can see it directly. 2 years. 2 years.
Our planet is like this amazing being. She's such a powerful light, and she has the capacity and the capability of healing quickly. So I mean, even through this like lockdown, a lot of people are looking at it in so many different ways. If you kind of research the reports of all the air quality that's changed throughout the planet, it's quite amazing. And it's just kind of proof of how quickly she has this ability to heal.
In 2 months, the ozone, the hole down closed up in 2 months. And there were talks about it not only expanding, but lasting forever.
Yeah.
And in just 2 months, look, all of us, Michelle, I want everybody that's listening right now to understand that all of us here right now live in Los Angeles. I'm in Burbank. Michelle, you're south. Adrian lives in the Batcave at a secret location that none of us know anything about. But we are all here in LA, and we have experienced some of the worst air pollution that you can not only smell, you can see it and taste it. It's right there. We have gone through some rough days. It's amazing how quickly it cleared up. And I didn't know that the LA skyline could be that beautiful. I forgot about it.
So interesting. It's so beautiful. So I just think about it. Like if more people just tuned into that, trying to be of service to the planet, to themselves, it's it's such a healing process. And that's kind of another reason why during this time, we also took on doing the weekly global live streams. And that said, I want to thank both of you. You both have busy lives. You're both radio personalities. Michelle at Awakening Code Radio, and Jimmy at Fade to Black and Coast to Coast AM on the weekends. Like, to have, you two put so much time and energy into this. It's just, I love you guys so much. And thank you for just always seeing what, we're doing and being a part of it, and really just showing like your heart's so bright always.
And I've got to jump in. I've got to interrupt that heartwarming statement. Man, I'm such a butt sometimes. I want to thank Neil Gower. And Neil Gower is somebody that I don't understand, a lot like Adrian. I don't know where he gets his energy from. That guy is always got something crazy going on, and every single day of the week, of the month, of the year, Neil is out there getting it done. Just like Adrian. It's kind of strange.
He's supposed to be on today too. It's just,
he's not on because he's in his underwear. And he's sitting there because he's worked. I can see him
right there. He can totally click it on. Just be like, "Yo, what's up?"
He has made this happen. Without Neil, we wouldn't be on each week.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And this broadcast today, we were delayed because Neil has been working for the last 24 hours getting stuff done for our next broadcast.
Yeah.
And preparing for that. And
I just want to cut you off now. I'm cutting you off now.
Okay.
Talking about Neil. So Neil, I approached Neil before we started this is, like, hey, here's what I want to do. And I know he does these amazing webinars. So definitely tune in to, Ascension, Portal to Ascension's webinars, because always has really amazing speakers, all this information. And Neil, I told him about this and what I want to do. And he just all right, let's do it. I want to be part of this. And, that's what it takes. It's so many different people that are part of this, platform are seeing it. And that's why Portal Ascension also is at DisclosureFest, the Mass Meditation Initiative is going to have, the Portal to Ascension stage. And at this stage is going to have, the lineup as it stands now is really amazing. And it's definitely a lineup that's here to activate and illuminate, So and Portal Ascension and Neil's a longtime partner forever. And this is going to be, I want everyone to really, focus, go check out and see what aligns with you on that platform as well.
And I have to thank Rita, and because her involvement with this entire project behind the scenes, Rita is somebody that doesn't want to be out there in front of things, and it's not her thing. It's not her style. But she does not stop working. That's all she does. She is on the phone with Adrian nearly every single day of the week, planning, strategizing, and figuring things out. And without her, practically none of this rolls. And I just thank you, Rita, right now. And I hope she's working. Right now, Rita's working. She's working. We're sitting here doing the broadcast, and I hope that she's listening, but she may not. What is she doing? She's working on Disclosure Fest and things, and how we're going to just move this thing forward with the rest of the community. And I can't thank her enough. So there you go. Thank you so much, Rita. We love you.
I love how you honor her, Jimmy. And I've witnessed you honoring Rita ever since the very first day I met you. And I had such a connection with Rita when I met her. We have similar, we've both been married almost as long as each other, and we have daughters. And she's a powerhouse. And I think it's so beautiful the way that you honor her, Jimmy. This is where the world is going, with divine union, with couples that are working together, co-creating. And seeing what we're doing here, even just looking at the Portal to Ascension, I see Portal to Ascension's logo in our Zoom room and seeing the circles, the circle of life, and how we're embodying that by your circles are overlapping in my circles and Adrian's circles, and each one of our performers, their circles are coming into the family. So this is a time for us to be that sacred geometry in form, embodied in each one of us. And it's beautiful to watch it. We're all puzzle pieces in this grand game of life. And
that's the best point that I think needs to be made here, is that all of us, like that circle of life, we're only as strong as the weakest link, right? And it's everybody's contribution together that makes us so strong, because it is Neil, it is Rita, it is Adrian, it is you, and so many others, right? The list.
Nilu and Ryan.
That list, I really want to kind of get into some of that.
Right.
Like Nilu is, almost like, I would say, my right hand here, and she's whatever is going on with this platform, she shows up, and she's here. She really works hard. She goes through every little thing and just tries to make it as perfect as possible. And we have such a small little crew here. Like, a lot of people probably think this is some grandiose, 50 people. This is very few people trying to make it happen. Nilu is one of these just rare beings that really understands and surrenders to this life of service. She does this amazing work with animals. She does this amazing work with plants, and she does this amazing work with DisclosureFest.
And she's got the coolest name ever in the history of all names.
And she's such a comedian. She has her own comedy show that she puts. She raises money for animals. She's just
right.
amazing. And
Ryan, can we talk about Ryan for a second?
Ryan,
he's probably watching too. I love Ryan.
Do you know how many times in a day during an event I yell Ryan? Right?
Did he throw anything at you yet?
Yeah, what's that?
Did he throw anything at you yet?
He is just like everybody else that is part of what we do. He gets things done and has a boundless amount of energy. Yeah. I don't know how much sleep he does when things are over, right? Because he goes to 11. But Ryan, my brother, I hope you're listening. Yeah. Thank you so much for everything that you have done over the years.
Funny story about Ryan. So I started a marketing company back in the early 90s called Sickness Marketing. It was kind of like we were doing all these heavier bands, the rock bands, and including Slipknot and Mudvayne and all these amazing, metal hard bands. And like in this, so I had like 10 reps in 200 markets in the country. So think about it, 200 markets, 10 reps in each one. And he was my captain for Wichita, Kansas. And I got him on the phone, and like, this kid was so open for anything. He would pass out everything that I sent him, boxes of CDs and stickers and all this stuff, and he'll go to the concert and meet the band and come. Like, literally, like he was in heaven by doing this. And we've been in touch all these years since the early 90s, and now he's here, and he's our production manager, and he's been working in the music industry doing events, and so it's so fortunate to have. I love you, bro. Happy to have you on board. But and there's so much more to come. Can't wait to he's in Colorado now, so it's hard to I wish he was here. So we have Eric Nielsen's another one. You probably never heard his name. That's why we want to bring him up. He does our website, and he's just anything I need, he does it. And again, we're not fully funded. So Eric, thank you for always being there and doing these updates and changing our site into more functionality. Colleen is does a lot of our graphic design work, and she works with you a lot over there at Awakening Code Radio, Michelle, and
I call her the wizard behind the scenes. She's magical.
Yeah, she's
quick and she's intuitive. You barely tell her any direction to go in, and she's on it, and she even makes it better than you could have dreamed it up yourself.
And she works all night doing it.
She does. She's a night owl. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's some, and then, you know, Autumn Sky is someone that, she's an amazing artist. So all the art that you've seen throughout this weekly live stream campaign is all Autumn Sky art. You'll see a couple paste things in the background. They're Autumn Sky art right there. Look at that, those beautiful portraits. And then you got Amanda Sage over here, my little curtain shade thing. That's an Amanda Sage piece, who was on one of our.
She's incredible, incredible artist, incredible.
So much, and such a heart. You know, she's
her live stream was so impactful because just the date, the timing, and everything. And like I told you, Adrian, on that particular live stream, Jimmy, you weren't at the end when Adrian said, okay, Michelle, at the end of the live stream, I want you to hold up what you drew with Amanda. And I was so stretched out of my comfort zone. I almost texted Adrian about 4 different times. I kept deleting it because I was like, no way, I'm not showing what I drew. No way, I'm not doing it. It was my total ego. I didn't feel like mine was good enough or something like that. But I pushed through it. And I got back on with Amanda and I said, Amanda, that was amazing what she took us through. Because even if you're a person like me who can't even draw a stick person, Amanda said, if you're not comfortable drawing, just draw bubbles. And I just drew bubbles in different colors. And it turned out to look kind of cool. So cool. But I didn't want to share it. And Adrian's texting me, Michelle, you have to share it. And I had to hold it up and push through that uncomfortableness. But that's what this time has all been about, is pushing through those our triggers, and wherever we don't feel worthy or whatever we're working on right now, just knowing that we're all in it together really brings comfort to our hearts. This has been amazing. And Ryan's texting me right now, you guys. I said, Ryan, we're singing your praises right now on our live. And he said, I love you. And he said to me, you've been so amazing. And he's such an amazing light. He's just love personified.
Let me tell you,
but we just have to get him to like stay focused and get over to LA already.
Yeah. Ryan, quit playing around. And this is the thing. This is the thing about Ryan. I could look at Ryan and go, okay, we need to move that stage over to here. Let's move it 10 feet to the left. What, the whole stage, the lights, the rigging? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. That's Ryan. Right? That's Ryan. It's just, he's just an incredible guy to see, you know, and when you arrive at Disclosure Fest or the ACON event or whatever, right? You get to Disclosure Fest and you look around, and I know when you see that many stages constructed, that many, that includes PA, lighting, power, video, just, it's, you know, to the horizon. When you see that much effort going into it, it doesn't go up and down by itself, you know. And to have somebody like Ryan with his fingers into his thumb involved into every single piece of this production and how it's done is I don't know how it happens. And Ryan, I know he's got his team and the AV and all of that around him. I get that. But it takes a real effort and real dedication to get that done. And that's what we get out of somebody like Ryan.
He always says yes. No matter what you ask him to do, it's a yes.
And you know what, just like me and you and all of you, he hasn't been paid a cent.
Yeah.
He shows up. Yeah. And that's what it is. It's you know, and that's something I really want to push on, like on in this conversation too, is what's your intention? What's the intention that you show up for in the world? And it came up on a group chat that I'm in about some people just not really vibing with, like, just surrendering to being of service. It's like, you know, like you were saying, Jimmy, like somebody's handling that. You know, and it's not always about like the reason why. It's like, what's your intention and where do you come from? Are you coming from a place of your heart? And why are you doing something? And that intention circles the universe. and sometimes it's better not to even think of it that way, and just show up that way. But really, just when you're able to do something like that and really look back and ask yourself, like, well, why did you do that? And it comes back to just because I want to like shine through my heart. And once it comes through that, like, so much. And then during these times, that's the place where shining through is the most important. And really understanding the power of this amazing organ and this amazing center that we all have. And it doesn't matter how you want to show up, just really, really look into your intentions, like, moving forward. And that's kind of a little thing. But yeah, again, I wanted to just kind of go through real quick and thank. I mean, we had some amazing stuff. Well, first episode, Mikulani and Torkum, that was amazing. Second one with Shiva and Zat Baraka. Oh my God. Like, there was some activations that I got at Shakti Fest, or was it Bhakti? One of those I saw Zat and did his workshop for 3 months after that, activation after activation after, just powerful.
Men's wisdom is men's wisdom workshops. Yeah, he is really amazing.
Yeah, he can really. It was really beautiful. I did things like out of my comfort zone because we had to express ourselves through sound and movement. So, like, two things that I don't really express myself as much with, and I had to do it with a stranger, and do an interesting movement and sound, and it was just really tapped into a lot of inner child stuff for me. It was beautiful. That third one, that 4/4 that we were that you hosted, Michelle, that you brought on, because Michelle, you do our Star Ancestors space at Disclosure Fest. We had 20 something tribes, nations last year.
That was crazy.
That was
crazy. That was crazy.
It was so intuitive too.
Intuitive. That was nuts. It was so much fun. I stood outside of the group and watched and videoed in amazement to see. Look, outside of the tent, there was a lot of people. Right, it was a pretty big gathering. The vibrations, man, coming off, it was nuts. That was a highlight of my day, Michelle.
That makes me feel good.
You put together such a great group of brothers and sisters, and seeing them all come together and being that open. I know a lot of the group, and probably wasn't accustomed to being in such a place like that.
You know what?
It was a stretch for them.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? But they had so much fun.
They did.
And there's something else that I'm just gonna say. It was loud. It was loud. You could hear. It caused when you see 5 or 10,000 people. Because I was outside of the tent, like, stop and focus as what was going on in that direction, because it was resonating, right? And it just got louder and louder, and the focus, that was a crazy, when I say nuts, that was powerful. I just stood there. I was standing there with Rita.
Yeah, because
witnessing that.
Right behind it. Your tent was right in front of that. So yeah.
The indigenous people, what I've witnessed in working with our First Nation people is they're bringing us back into the original way of being, honoring the earth and honoring each other. And everything is done in a very prayerful way. And like you said, Jimmy, it builds. So the reason why we put at the very end, I thought it was like the perfect ending, the Aztec dancers, because their drums are so loud. And we did the friendship dance with the Aztec dancers to close out our space. But we also had an eagle dancer, Stephen Garcia, and his wife, Kathy Wilcuts. They did a beautiful medicine wheel ceremony. And seeing Mikulani Young singing her Hawaiian chants as prayers with our Tongva elder, Tina Calderon, and the Hummingbird drummers, which are women drummers of different nations, was also very, very beautiful. And Jose Munoz, our Mayan daykeeper, he did a beautiful segment as well. And we had a lot of people who were there that weren't actually featured speakers or performers that came just to be a part of it. And now, they want to be a part of it this year. So it is growing, but it is really beautiful to see these different cultures coming together in harmony, in peace, in joy, and realizing we're all in this together and we are one human family. We are the tribe of humanity. And Chief Phil Lane talks about that all the time. And he'll be one of our featured speakers this year.
You say strong, you say beautiful, you say joy. That was powerful.
Yeah.
I can't use another word to describe and for many of us, including myself, because we're all aware of our history and our past for sure. But most of us, like myself, you don't get to see that in person, and to witness the bonding of the minds. And once that starts, and it builds and it builds, and it's an incredible thing. And I was so not only amazed, but it was powerful. It was just powerful. It was so strong. You could feel the ground. That was amazing, Michelle.
Thank you, Jimmy. Well, I loved how Petra Reyes was such a beautiful, nurturing MC. She comes from the Dene tribe, which many people know as the Navajo in Arizona. And she was so graceful with how she MC'd it. And our Hashiman elder, Adelia Sandoval, who's a very good friend of mine, singing her songs. And that was challenging too, because there's another, ecstatic dance going on next door.
It was so loud.
It was so loud, but still seeing the people that were riveted in our tent at the Star Ancestor Space, still taking in the wisdom of the Ahashiman tribe and the songs, which were so different than the ecstatic dance going on next door. But they still came up to me and said, I still got so much out of it. It was almost like there was a protective bubble just so that we got whatever we needed. And that's what I love about Disclosure Fest is that
there was a moment, I'm glad you brought that up. There was a moment when it got into unison.
Yeah.
It got it was, yeah. Man, I can't wait for Disclosure Fest.
I know. I can't wait to be in person with all of us again.
I just wanted to bring up one important part about how you set that up and how, like, when we had that conversation, going to a lot of these gatherings with our Indigenous, sisters and brothers, finding that there was a bit of an imbalance sometimes. And the way we constantly organize even the Star Ancestor Space, the way you organized our 4/4 weekly live stream, where we have a grandmother and an elder. So we really balance the feminine and the masculine. Because, like last year we had the Autumn Sky branding for our whole festival, which was the beloved, and it was the balance of the feminine and the masculine. It was a man and a woman facing each other in prayer, and then that was our branding. And it was the download for last year was one of the most powerful ones, finding that balance of the feminine and the masculine within us all. And the way you organized that Star Ancestor Space, and we organized Star Ancestors weekly live stream in that way with Chief Phil and Mikalani and Tina and Jose. Like, it was very, very beautiful and everything. Thank you for that. It's just really, really important. And
you're welcome. Well, it was my pleasure, my honor. I love working with you and with them. And it's bringing us all back into balance. That's what I think these live streams have been about, for sure.
Now, what's coming up next, Adrian?
So, we did 6 weeks. We did 6 weeks of live streams, you two. Wow, what an accomplishment. So we went through some that didn't happen, like the lava and free soul. So I'd like to do that. So, in the future, we had some that had some, one thing we went through some technical difficulties, understanding this new way of doing it. very interesting. So we learned a lot of learning curves. So I'm going to be humbling out. Like, you know, there's a lot of content that happened through these that I would like to kind of, you know, fix up, touch up, and re-release. So please look out for that. There was an ecstatic dance one that, you know, I would love to redo. But there's so many that were so amazing that were perfect. That Amanda Sage one was, like you brought up, was amazing, super. The Kiyoshi one with who was that one with
that was with Mirabai Javi.
Yeah, Mirabai. That was so beautiful. Jay Brave, I'd like to thank. Adam Apollo, Andrew Seeley did an acro yoga thing. Elijah Ray, probably have him back on again soon. He was amazing. You know, Robin Martin, who's this amazing yogi. She's so beautiful. She's going to be flying in from Washington just to be a part of it. You know, Dr. Stephen Greer came on a couple episodes. Like, that's what I mean about, like, where are you coming from? Like, what is your intention for the world? Are you using your heart center? Like, this guy, like, you know, he's a pretty big deal. And, like, he offered his time. Like, I thought that was, like, really, really special.
Yeah, when you have the #1 streaming documentary on all of streaming services at this moment, like he does right now. I mean, the film is a great film, and it deserves what is happening. But he's a very, very busy guy.
Yeah,
that's how important Disclosure Fest is not only to him, but he recognizes the community that is around it too as well. Yeah. And he wants to make sure that he is a part of it because it is important. And that says a lot. That absolutely you know, shines a light on Greer and what his intentions are. And through, of all things, the crazy world of UFOs. That's a crazy segment out there. It's not the UFOs. It's what you have to wade through with governments and networks and Hollywood and other researchers and things. That's a difficult area, and he has been absolutely tirelessly doing this for the last 30 years. And at the end of 30 years, he and 3 films, 3 great films. This film is out. Things are really good for him in the UFO community, and he's right here with us on Disclosure Fest. Not once, twice. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Apology.
That was a good way to put it, Adrian. Stephen Greer, Dr. Stephen Greer. I was talking to Joanne, the owner of one of the owners of the Integratron, about CE5. She rented it. And she made note that what she loves is that he comes from an ER physician background, and that gives it a lot of credibility with her because she was a nurse in a hospital in New York. And I think he does come across very balanced. I love the things he talked about as far as interplanetary peace and how we're going to get there. And he had a lot of really good things to say. Jimmy, that was very well hosted. I applaud you for both of those interviews with Dr. Greer.
Yeah, I have. I don't know how many times I've done shows with him over the years, and I've done conferences with him too as well. It's been a lot of things, and I've noticed one thing about Dr. Greer that most probably don't realize. But that dude is intense.
Yeah,
he's really intense, and it's because I think for him it comes from a place of just wanting movement. You know, and the frustration that comes from that when you're not, you know, for 30 years, right? 30, that's a long time. And his passion and his drive is something that I recognize. He's intense. Now, he's totally cool. There are times when he is really, really funny and all of that, but don't let that mask his drive and his intensity. I'm telling you right now, that guy is not going to give up.
Thank you, Stephen. Dr. Stephen Greer. Amazing man. I'm really happy you finally got to know him a little bit. Yeah, and then, you know, Jennifer Partridge, that EFT tapping. I know you, I was crying during that. And I know you were, Michelle.
I know. I cried a few times on some of these live streams for sure. Yeah.
So like she's going to be everyone that was on these weekly global live. Are you guys hearing about that?
Yeah. I think it's coming from you. It only happens when you're speaking. But I'm going to say this really quick. I have to, again, I want to thank everybody for being here. And I actually have a show tonight.
Oh, okay.
So I've got to get out of here and get ready for tonight. But it's not because I don't want to be here, because I could sit here for the next 2-3 hours with you guys and just sit and have a great time. But I've got a show tonight, and I'll let everybody know that's listening. If you've never checked out Fade to Black, you can just go to jimmychurchradio.com. Tonight is open lines. So I get to just sit and take phone calls all night long. And if you want to come and join us, just head over to jimmychurchradio.com.
Thanks for jumping on. I really appreciate for you hosting all these, and we'll keep it going. Michelle, behave.
I will. I promise. You as well. And give Rita a big hug from me. She's
absolutely.
Beautiful sidekick.
Adrian, thank you so much, and everybody, Nilu, Neil, just everybody. Just thank you so much, and we're probably. I'm just going to use a wink here. I know Adrian. This may be the last of this series of live streams, but Michelle and I are going to get the phone call, and Neil from Adrian. Okay, we're going to do a live stream next. So I look forward to the next one. Okay, thank you.
Our hands are raised. Our hands are raised. We support you, Adrian. Thank you for bringing us all together and doing this deep dive, and for the mass meditation and the Sonic Devas sound healing and your mass meditation with Gabriel Logan Braun that's going to be live, going to be edited and put on. I'm really looking forward to that. That one's going to be super special.
So yeah, please look out for dates on that one. So I'd like to thank everyone that was part of that. Ava Tara Alchemy. She's an amazing light in my life and love, and been activating me on so many levels. Thank you for being a part of these episodes and just with me and just even our initiatives. And thank you guys. So yeah, let's keep out. And I want to, before we go, I really want to also thank Dea Dova, who did an amazing.
Dea Dova, amazing. Jimmy, if you didn't catch the Dea Dova episode, go back and watch it.
I will.
She's a grid worker and a beautiful sound healer.
I want to, let's finish this out. Jimmy, you got to go. Let's finish this out with Michelle. Love you, brother.
I'll see you. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Bye.
Little does Jimmy know, there's going to be more live streams. So yeah, Dea Dova. That's the one thing I really want to talk about. Am I still doing that weird thing with my sound?
It sounds better now.
Okay. A lot. This about me with Disclosure Fest is a lot of it has to do with like these downloads that I get I do these planetary earth gridding. Spirit comes through and sends me on these little missions, and a lot of it comes through. And when I found out Dea Dova does that same thing, and listening to her music and her amazing partner Hamilton and her like children, wow, like this
her whole family is co-creating with her. I was telling my husband and my daughter that I just really appreciate the way that she's modeling what it looks like to be a sacred family, a family that's very awake and aware, and they want to help the earth and all life upon her. And she definitely really touched me to my core. She's fantastic. Her meditation just took me out of my body, into the cosmos, into the ocean. I can't wait to see her in person at Disclosure Fest, because when I went to her website after you told me about her and I saw the production that she puts on with the costumes, with the feathers, she played a song on on that weekly live stream, she played Return of the Bird Tribe. She played 3 songs, I think, but Return of the Bird Tribe is a big part of what her costuming is and the lighting, and very well done. But the fact that she mentioned where we hold Disclosure Fest Mass Meditation at Los Angeles State Historic Park, and that she actually looked at the grid points and
the line that runs through the middle of the park.
That's what she said. And that, of course, because our bodies are compasses. Yeah. And that's what grid work is all about.
So, yeah, exactly. So blessed to have her on. What a life. Yeah. So we had, Caroline Corey did an amazing, workshop about, unblocking, like, different fears and other old patterns, We had a beautiful sound bath, with, again, Avatara, Alchemy, and Shane, and Yanga couldn't join on that one, but we had a TT, who was there. So that was beautiful. Avatara is, a wonderful artist, performer, singer, sound healer, and what an amazing actual healer. Like, she does amazing work on me.
Her sound healings are extraordinary, and I'm so grateful I got to attend in person. And she activates all the senses, not just your sound, but she's working with essential oils and crystals and all the different instruments. It's a real activation. Yes.
No one works light therapy like her. Orangi and Ashley Clown, wow, can't say enough words about them. Very amazing, beautiful healers that go around the world with just spreading this amazing dance journeys and meditation, and just bringing and releasing. There's so much releasing through this movement medicine that they provide. I work very closely with them. We're going to be working closely on a lot of other things, so please look out for that.
The Integratron cannot wait to host them, just so that you know. They were telling me they want to have him there on that property doing what they do.
I'd love to do it. I can't wait to do a disclosure event with Porangi there. And then, Liquid Bloom with Amani. Like, that's beautiful the way that turned out. He had this amazing record that was about to come out May 1st. We were talking in March, the Regent Deep Ambient remixes. And then, we just kind of collectively thought about this, putting meditations to it. And, we had, so many amazing people on that, including, Ava. And Desert Dwellers, he's part of Desert Dwellers, and that's kind of a staple with Disclosure Fest. And then this last episode that we're working on, we're gonna do some final recordings and edits and release that, because this meditation was a beautiful download that came through for this. It's called a Journey to a New Earth, and it's basically what it sounds like. It's kind of going through the clearing of what's not serving us on this reality that we've created, at the moment, and where we're heading with this reality, and just clearing all that and traveling and seeing what a new earth will look like for us. And it's a beautiful meditation, and Gabriel Logan Braun does such an amazing sound healing for it. And the Sonic Devas are going to be are part of that, and with Linda Arnold and Tommy, and and then also this new person that came through, Caroline. She's an amazing harpist. Who's really, check her out. And there's going to be a few more to come. Sorry, I don't know what that is. Please keep checking back. We're going to be expanding our Feed Our Souls to trying to do 1,000 meals a week.
Wow.
We have a very healthy, safe kitchen that's doing a lot. And we're just going to collaborate and try to get up to 1,000 meals a week. So anything you can do to help in that way, that would be amazing. Anything you can find in your heart to donate. We're actually, we found a lot of issues on Skid Row going on. I don't even want to get into some of them, but there's a lot of help needed on Skid Row and some of these other homeless encampment areas throughout the city.
With where we're at right now in the world, I really feel that this is the initiative that is taking precedence right now. And we're being very mindful of what's needed in our communities as far as feeding people. And I'm so grateful that we're doing this. And like I said in some of our past lives, that many people are talking about what has been taken away, but there's also something that can be given, especially if you're working from home and you're still getting a paycheck, or even if you're getting a paycheck from unemployment. I have people here that lost their jobs but are actually getting money from unemployment. And when you get that, and you can actually donate a portion of that to Disclosure Fest to feed people who have less than you, I watch the circle and how it comes back around. So thank you to all of you who have felt the heart calling to dig deep in your pockets and know that what you're doing is making a huge difference.
Yes. Oh my God, thank you. There's been quite a few, and such a blessing to have that, to have people really seeing that and understanding, and asking what their intentions are for the day. Yeah, and thank you to our sponsors again. We have beautiful sponsors that, like, even during a time like this, showed up. Like, a lot of people just closed the door, disappeared. They showed up.
I have to tell you, I'm going to tell you this, Adrian, about GT's kombucha. Because for 6 weeks I've been saying we'd like to thank our sponsors, and I thank Follow Your Heart and GT's Kombucha and Calafia Farms and Biomats. I didn't realize the kombucha I was drinking was GT's kombucha. I didn't even put that together until I looked at my bottle and went, this is one of our sponsors.
Yeah.
And then when I went back to the grocery store, I thought, I'm looking at all the kombuchas and there's different brands. I never want to buy another brand.
Yeah.
I only want to be loyal to GT's kombucha because I've seen their loyalty to the community. And that means a lot to me. Yeah. This is a time to put our dollars, using our dollars as our voting for what types of companies deserve our business.
Yeah. Oh, amazing way to look at it. Yeah. Biomats donated some beautiful products that we're going to be sharing with the community soon, and they're going to have this amazing in our sound temple this year. Biomats is going to they're going to bring like 20 to 50 biomats, and people can enjoy the sound temple, which is going to be all the toppest, like the most amazing sound healers in the country, in the world probably, throughout the whole day, and you can experience that on a biomat, which I have one and I feel amazing when I lay on it. Sometimes with all the overwhelming work that I do, I sometimes get some migraines, and I lay on that thing and it really helps my migraines and my back tension. It helps me relax. It's really.
And this is the future of healing. This is the future of medicine. Food is medicine. Sound is medicine. All of these technologies, it really, really makes me feel like we have turned a corner when it comes to how we look at how do we nurture and restore our bodies. And all of these companies are doing that with us.
Yeah. Thank you all. And you going to go jump in the pool.
I'm going to go jump in my pool now. Yes, I don't have to worry about having good hair for Disclosure Fest Live. I am going to go jump in the pool. It's hot here in California. Well, thank you, Adrian. Thank you for your beautiful heart. Everything. I loved everything Jimmy said about you is so true, and about our team. And it is a very small team, and we're so dedicated to the uplifting, the healing of humanity and Mother Earth. And I can't thank you enough. Thank you for honoring that self-care is important, and for going with the flow, because you were in another direction earlier and people were asking. I thought we were doing a live stream today, and boy, we got that out. So
yeah, we got it out. So self-care. I'm all about it.
Here we go. Thank you again, Neil. We love you. I know you're in your boxers.
Neil, a lot more to come, brother. keep checking out. We have 3 dates for the summer. Right now, August 8th is our date that we're going to, but just in case, we have September and October. This is happening. The show must go on. The meditation must go on.
Yes.
Tune in soon for these final episodes that are going to be aired soon. And I love you. Thanks for tuning in. Aho. Much love.
Be good humans.